Easy Petrol Post Driver is not just a one-trick pony. It has many, many uses across many sectors. We've got farming, fencing contracting, forestry, landscaping, tree planters, events, vineyards, and many, many more. To get the best out of this machine, you're going to need the right adapter. First of all, the ground rules on which adapter do I need. What you need is a snug fit over your post. If you're trying to knock in a 2-inch post and you've got a 4-inch adapter, the machine is not going to be working to its absolute potential. It's going to be jaggling around all over. You, the operator, are going to be really working hard to keep it straight. And even more importantly than that, the hammer that's in here, moving 1700 beats a minute, isn't going to be hitting the top of that post every time like you want it to be. If you're off centre, then your post's going to go in off centre. So what we need is a snug fit. What we mean by that, we've got in the box lid, just in case you forget, we've got 5 to 10 mil clearance between the post size and the adapter size. So if you've got a 75 mil post, somewhere between an 80 and an 85 mil adapter will be perfect for that. What adapters have we got? Well, starting with the round ones, this is a 78 mil adapter. All our adapters have a dimension on them. So this is called a 78 round, and what that refers to is this is 78 millimeters internal diameter. From there, you would then work out what your post size is going to fit. So this is perfect for a 70 to 73 mil post, so 73 mil being your 3-inch, 70 mil being more European sizing. We then go slightly bigger. We've got an 84 mil internal diameter. That's great for 75 mil to 80 mil posts. Used a lot, not so much in the UK, but more in Europe. We then get onto the bigger stuff. And here we've got our biggest round, which is 107 mil round. So that's great for you. 4-inch rounds or 100 mil rounds. Now, it doesn't matter if your posts are turned, peeled, split. As long as we've got a nice snug fit, it'll be absolutely fine. If you've got a split post, like chestnut, for example, where you've got some slightly odd shapes, you would just find whatever size fits over the best. It might be that if you're using some 3 to 4-inch rough sawn or something like that, you have a few different adapters depending on what your sizes are, just so that you get that nice snug fit. Now, to swap the adapters over, you've got a couple of options now. So switching from rounds to another size of round, you can either undo these bolts, so there'll be 8 bolts around here, slide that off, slide another one on. But if you're doing that a lot, that can get a bit tiring, a bit of a waste of time really. So then move on to our multi-kits. What we have with these is you start with the biggest one, which is the 107 mil round, and then we have these that slot into each other depending on what size you're doing. So our most popular kit, you start with your 107 mil round, we then reduce down to, this is 95 mil. That slides in there like that. And these bungees just hold everything in place. These hook onto the machine just like that. And there's no power going through these bungees. These will still work whether everything's covered in mud, whether it's wet, greasy. Just keeps it all dead easy. If you're then going into a slightly smaller post, we reduce that down again. What you've then got is a 78 mil, which will do your 3-inch rounds. Easy. Seconds, less than that even. Other post sizes, we've got Clip-X options. These are really popular, becoming a lot more popular in the UK and Europe. So what we've got here is a 56 mil round. That will do your Clip-X standards. And then we've got the slightly bigger one, which is your 85 mil round. That'll do your Clip-X beefies. So if you're switching between the two, it literally takes moments. They all slot together, just like the other ones. We then move on to the squares and rectangles. Now, you can knock in a square post with a round adapter, but if you want to get the faces all facing the same way, the flat faces of your post, then you're going to want to use a square adapter. That way, once it's attached onto the machine, you can steer the post in, make sure that it's going in the way you want it to. Biggest one of these is again 107 mil, so that's 107 mil square, so that will do your either 4-inch squares or 100 mil squares. Then getting smaller, we go to 80 mil square, 52 mil square and 32 mil square. Moving on to the rectangles. Biggest one is a 5x3 rectangle, 4x3 rounds and 4x2 rounds as well. 4x2 round can also be used for your 4-inch half posts or split posts, half rounds, whatever you want to call them, because you still want to be knocking in, you want to be hitting the top of that post flush and central. So even though it's a half round, we still want the centre of your post to be right where the hammer's hitting. And then we get onto the really niche stuff on the end here. First of all, we've got angle irons. We can make these in any size. The classic one is a 50mm angle. We've then got an option for scaffold plugs. So if you're knocking in scaffold poles and taking them out again, say you're on an event and you're putting fencing up 1 minute and then you're putting festoon lighting up, that sort of thing, you're going to be taking those posts in and out quite regularly, and they start to burr over on the top. So this plug just sits inside your scaffold pole and protects the top, so you don't have to be grinding them down quite so regularly. Other option similar to that is a steel cap. So again, you could use that for your scaffold poles, or maybe if you're using a softer metal post, something like a U-shape or a Y-shaped post that is made of a cold rolled steel, they can be a bit prone to burring over. By putting the cap on first, on top of the post, and then you put the adapter will then slide on over that, you're just protecting the top of that post. Here, this little one is an insert for an estate fence. So estate fence might be 42mm by 10 or 50mm by 12. We can make these any size, and then they would fit into one of our other adapters, and we just glue those in, depending on what size that you're needing. And then if there's nothing else in the range that you can see that is any good for you, then we can also make something custom. So this is a blank, basically. We can make this in any size or shape you want. Just let us know what you need. If there's anything in the range that doesn't suit you, get in touch and we can see what we can do for you. Even though the machine is manufactured in Australia, a lot of these adapters are made in the UK, because what they're doing in Australia is very different to what we're doing here. So in Australia, there's lots of metal fencing, and over here, we've got a lot more timber and a lot more different shapes and options as well. These adapters are all made in the UK, so we can make anything you want to suit your application.